Alright, this is He-Man reporting from Castle Grayskull. Doesn't that thing look like a skull? Anyway, as you can see here, we're starting to piece some things back together. I straightened this out. It's still kind of beat up a little bit. We're going to run it through an English wheel. Got the dashboard about set in place. Everything's just in clamps right now. I actually cut the fenders just to fit all these pieces together. See, I made some new frame support that ties all this together, and another big development. My brand new fenders are ready. So I ordered 2 sets of everything, so I have enough to do this truck and Starship 4. So I'm pretty psyched about that. So now I can take those fenders and fit them up here and trim them and drill them and get them all ready to rock and roll, and then I'm pretty much going to have to take everything back apart, and I wanted to paint all the aluminum before it's finalized and riveted in place. This is my air conditioning unit system. I don't know if I can use that yet. Alright, my phone's about full. I can't find the cable to upload it to my external hard drive, so this is going to be quick. You can see I got all the dashboard in, all the floorboards are in, made that little cross beam right there. Got my little side plates on, the ones that I changed out to aluminum. The whole front end is riveted on. Headlight buckets are in. That's going pretty good, so that's about as far as I can take that. I want to show you the motor. Motor's set in place. I ran all the brake lines all the way up to the front where the master cylinder is going to be, and my intake manifold is getting ready to go on. Here's my intake manifold set up. Still waiting on a couple of little fittings and stuff, but that should be going in soon. And then this is the master cylinder setup. We're using Hydro Boost master cylinder, and I need to make a 90-degree bracket contraption to mount that master cylinder sideways under the dashboard. They make similar ones, but there's nothing that's really made that'll fit my application, so I'm going to have to make it from scratch. So that is that. Alright, here's the 90-degree master cylinder assembly that I made. It houses the gas pedal, the brake pedal, and the steering column as well. Press the pedal, it rotates this guy right here. Presses in 90 degrees to the master cylinder. Okay, the brake assembly is installed. Drilled and tapped some holes into the main plate. Fastened it to the front core support, and it looks pretty good and sturdy. I did have to make a doubler to put behind the dashboard, and that stiffened it up a whole lot. And it's good to go as far as functionality goes. I wouldn't recommend being in a crash with it, because that whole big steel chunk would come right into you. So we're not going to do that again.
He's a monkey!
Got a rocket stove? Is that what you call it?
Failure to launch it.
Some wild children over there playing.
I hope you're not making an up and down video on my phone.
I did. I'm sorry.
Alright, quick little update. I finally got my phone unloaded, so Now I can start recording videos again. Got the steering column in and that whole assembly that I made for the brake pedals. The air conditioning ductwork is in, and you can see a little glimpse of my cardboard mock-up of where the speedometer and everything is going to go. See all the front's done. There's my Hydro Boost unit. And there's that big assembly that holds the pedals and the steering column. Also over here, I've got all my air conditioning system stuffed in that little area right behind the marker light. And I went ahead and deleted the glove box that was right there, because that's where all the air conditioning is housed. I was able to save this little cubby hole here. Just had to rebuild the design of all that. Onto the frame, and I'm really hoping that we get to lift the truck onto the frame this week. Got my water tank in, gas lines, fuel filler neck is all run, the fuel pump is modified and installed. Then drive shaft is also in. Look how much clearance is in there. It is not much. There's the plumbing for the water tank, so I'll be able to pick that up on the other side with a little rubber hose. So where's the exhaust gonna go? Because everything is in the way. That's an issue. But the plan is currently that I'm gonna run the exhaust underneath the transmission and turn both exhausts outside of this frame rail. And there's probably a 20-inch gap between this frame rail and the outside of the truck, and I'm gonna run both exhausts right down the length of the truck here and dump right out before the wheel. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and install my intake manifold. That way I can finish running my fuel lines. So let's get to that. So this is going to have to get moved because it actually impacts the pedals and comes entirely too close to the brake pedal. So I got a new bracket setup coming that's going to move the alternator and the power steering lower down on this same side, and I'm still going to have to rework that bracket that holds the air conditioner, because the air conditioner doesn't match that design anymore. Alright, the intake is on good and snug, and next up we're going to put on the fuel rails. Alright, so what I'm working on is the air conditioning system now. I did end up buying a aftermarket air conditioning setup that came with all the pieces and everything. It was only like $700, and it fit. You know, I was able to order the evaporator and the condenser that would fit my truck. So next problem I have is making, this is the air compressor, or the air conditioning compressor that went on the engine originally, and it fit in this little bracket just perfect. But we can't use that compressor anymore because it has these push style hoses, and my new compressor has like screw-on style hoses. So at first I was thinking about just trying to use this bracket. So what I ended up doing was making some plates, and I was going to lift it up like this. But the problem with this Chevrolet engines is it runs the air conditioner off of this skinny little baby serpentine belt, and I never really liked that setup. So what I'm going to do is just make a whole new bracket, and we're going to move this whole compressor forward to capture the primary serpentine belt, and then I'll just get a longer belt. So the setup that I came up with, this is the plate that's going to bolt those 3 holes to the block, and then I've got these I'm going to cut these out of 1/4 inch plate. These are going to fit on there like that. I'm going to bend it over to miss that bolt, and then I'm going to weld these brackets on. One goes here and one goes there, and that sits in here just like that. and captures those 2 holes. So I carefully measured everything, and so I probably only have to cut it apart 2 or 3 times. All right, let me take you on a junkyard tour and show you what really makes me do a little dance. Here's the junk pile. Here's where I keep all the steel. Here's all my aluminum. Believe it or not, I dig through there and come back with, you know, metal that I make parts out of. Where my kids go play in the woods. But this is our compost pile, and right there is my shiitake log. Look at those beautiful babies. And the funny thing is, I had these shiitake plugs in the refrigerator for like 2 years, and then finally I came across, my neighbor was cutting down a tree, and I had them drag this log over here, and put the plugs in it. Waited 2 years, and now I have these beautiful shiitakes. Just rained last night. Oh, I love mushrooms. And there's a big one over there that got away from me. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So what I do is, being that it's ready to spore, I go ahead and tap out all the spores on the log. And hopefully we get more babies. A little wobbly, it needs a shim in there. Alright, these forward body mounts are in the way. I'm going to cut them off now. I thought I'd be able to use them, but they're just in the way. Looks like it still needs to go forward about an inch. Pretty close to set down though. It has some fuzzy math. So we got this sticking out the back. To fix that, I have to lift it all back off. Take the generator out, move the brackets forward 3 inches. I don't know if I want to do all that.